Our speaker is Coach Anthony Pena, our baseball. Now I'm nervous. But anyway, Anthony Pena is our head varsity baseball coach, and he graduated from Westwood Christian School in 2013. I remember, and I want to share this brief story about Anthony. His senior year, he was on our baseball team that went 2 years in a row to states and played in the championship game 2 years in a row. The first year they lost, and then the second year the Lord blessed us with a victory in the state championship game, and that was so exciting to go through that with as a school and to cheer them on and to be just a part of that wonderful, neat experience as our varsity basketball team has done in the past as well. It's just a neat experience to go to states. But I'll never forget taking my son up, and my son Sutton was a lot younger then, but just loved the game of baseball even at a young age. And again, I can't remember, I guess, let's see, 13, so 6. So about, I guess he was 8 or 9 at the time, and I remember watching them warm up, and they all came from the outfield and came in together as a team heading towards the home plate backstop and heading to their dugout just before the game started. And I'll never forget Levi Fullerton and Sutton Thompson, my son, and Levi, they were standing there behind the backstop. And one of the players came over and noticed those two boys and came over and put his hand up against the fence to high-five them. And it was neat. It was kind of like when we grow up and we watch our star athletes play and we get a chance to see them, and for them to come over like that, that's pretty impressive. And so when Anthony did that, it really touched me as a dad to see his son be kind of in awe of one of the varsity players at States. And I will always remember that, and I reminded Anthony of that when we interviewed him for the position of head coach. And that was just an example of the heart that he has. And it's been really neat to see how his heart has grown in his spiritual walk, in his testimony for the Lord these last, I would say, 6 months that we've been able to really observe it, and it's really been exciting to see. Anthony loves God. He has a passion to serve his God, and we're so thankful for that passion because it's been exemplified and shared with his team and his players on his teams, both the varsity and the junior high. And it's just been a wonderful example to see him be that godly example to all of his boys on the baseball teams. So it's really a wonderful privilege to have Anthony come up here. When I asked him to do this, Mr. Abbott and I, he jumped at it, at the opportunity. Now, one of the things we had to tell him over and over and over is you don't have all night to preach. Okay, this is just a time to share from God's Word, something that He's laid on His heart to be an example to you. But will you join me as we welcome Anthony Pena tonight as he comes up to speak to us?
How you guys doing? Everything good? Gotcha, guys. Well, I'm here today basically to talk to you guys about how God's been just a big part in my life for the last couple months, and He's been blessing me a lot in a place where I kind of grew up and first found out about Jesus Christ. I was raised in a pretty good family with good seeds, and the one thing that you guys can do that's very easy for the little ones is literally honor your parents. You do that, and you won't have to deal with a lot of situations that you never thought you would end up in. Because something that I like to ask athletes is, okay, who are you as a person? So if God gave you a talent, He's giving you that talent to pretty much conquer the land that He left us. Because by accepting who Jesus is, you're pretty much now working for Him. and He'll bless you in ways that you can't even see, because He'll make everything just a lot easier just for you. And He'll kind of remind you of the first type of love that you ever felt, and that was your parents' love. A verse that stuck out to me was John chapter 9. That it's about Jesus pretty much healing a man that was born blind. So in verse 9:3 they asked, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned," said Jesus. "But this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world." So in other words, the Lord's going to want us to live for him and to have a lot of faith in what he has planned for us. Because if you follow him and you keep your faith, even in times of trial, like when he did with Job, and you're faithful, your testimony will only keep growing and growing. Because it's like he's giving you a test, and you just have to lean out and cry out for Jesus Christ. And he'll answer any type of question that you might have. Because it's been happening just in 3 months that I've been with my baseball team. And something that also struck out to me was when I was at Westwood, I was focused on God and I was following the 10 Commandments. And he gave me everything I wanted. He gave me a school that I could go study to, play baseball. My relationship with my parents was like really on the money, on the tee, because this is pretty much for seniors that are not going to get into college. That the enemy's going to want to scare you guys off, but it doesn't matter because we have God, and he gave us this land. And he gave us this land just to conquer everything that we have to do for him. These are just some thoughts that I wrote down because I was presented to a man called Carlos Sosa, which they call the hitting champ of like the U.S. But he told me that I had to leave Westwood in order to make money. So old Anthony would have probably been like, okay, I have to go and see what's going to happen, when all you're supposed to do is just open your Bible and just pray on it. And he'll tell you directly. He'll tell you literally directly. Because I tend to do Bible studies where I just give all my faith to God, and he's been answering. So a pretty simple example is the Lord will grant you abundant prosperity in the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock and the crops of your ground, in the land he swore to your ancestors to give you. The day that I walked into Westwood Christian again, after pretty much not knowing what I was doing for the last 3 years, has really just been how beautiful God is. Because all you have to do is trust God. And it sounds simple, but you have to keep it simple. You keep your parents and you love your parents, and good things will happen no matter what. No matter what. Because that's why God put them there for you. And that's what I tell the guys, because at the same time it reminds me of who Pedro Peñas and Serman Sanchez pretty much raised. And there's for sure been an attack on the families nowadays, like in this time. And it's very like all over the place. And I know if we have good families, good things are only gonna happen. And families that honor God, then whatever he wants to use you, he will, like how he did David. David had everything that he wanted because he was honoring God with it. And he had instruments that he would play. And God gives us instruments. So if we have a talent that he gave us, then we just have to honor God, because he's the one that led me to pretty much finding Westwood Christian School. And on why it's such a good school, because it's just not a good school. It's the school. And these are just a couple words that I was just having in mind. I kind of wrote something out, but I prayed about this message before I got up here that God would just put the right words to say because He always deserves the glory. So I can't wait to see who is going to win what awards for what teams because it's been a while since I come here. And it's nice to see a lot of familiar faces. And I would just like to thank every single believer that has been a part of my growth because Jesus Christ is going to come back looking for a church, which is a group of people that believe who He is. Paul was a missionary, and for coaches, he gives us a piece of land. So for Coach Omar, he gives you a basketball court where faith can be an integral part of the entire process that makes an athlete. Because it's basically the building block of being a great athlete because you have God on your side. And Tim Tebow was that type of athlete. And I believe that we could become a school like that. And especially if we're honoring God. Because God's everywhere and He sees everything. And He's a graceful God and He's a merciful God. So for the little guys, if you ever need to talk to someone, you can talk to God. Because you're not going to be a good basketball player if you don't practice on your own. You're not going to grow in your Christian walk if you don't practice on your own. And you don't talk to God on your own. Because you're not. Because you got to have faith that one day you're going to see yourself, look, I'm going to be playing for that team. And honoring God while I do it. So if we start to think like that more, I believe that we're going to accomplish a lot of things in the school that I know just God has in store for us because it's been a really blissful year, and I can't wait to just be a part of this family. That's basically all I have to say, and I'm keeping it there.
I always get the privilege to get it started with the awards and everything. Before I do so, I don't know, I was just sitting there thinking about this year and all the games I have watched and a lot of different sports. And I don't know, one thing that has come to mind with the athletes, with almost every sport I have observed, is character. We don't always face teams that have that, whether it's verbally, they're attacking us or using language. And I have been to a lot of games that Westwood has stood strong. And I want to commend the athletes out here that in the face of poor sportsmanship, in the face of language, even a bad call repeatedly, Westwood's athletes, you guys have really just kept your character and kept a Christ-like attitude. And I was privileged to observe that. And I know that's kind of off my, not middle school volleyball, but I'm like, wow, they're getting it. I guess that's my passion in coaching, is to walk away with that character, because they're going to take that long after they get off the court or the field. And to see that play out and see that in young people's lives is a blessing. And I know a lot of parents out here. I'm thinking of it as a parent. What a blessing to be able to have coaches that are encouraging that into our students and our children. So I got the privilege again to coach middle school volleyball. We started the year with tryouts with almost 30 girls for a 12-person team. That was rough. I just wanted to take them all. I'm like, can we start a fourth team? And we have 3 teams running, and we had that many middle school. I mean, that was just exciting. Hard, because you can't take them all. But we did get it down to the 12, but it was a blessing, and I'm just looking forward to continuing the growth of the volleyball program here, with Coach Phil here. But let me call up the girls first, and then we'll get on to the awards. So Isabella, Daniela Bermudez, Sarah, Sophia, Ashley, Emma, Gianna, Daniela, Vanessa, Natalie, Elise, and Nicole. If you guys can come on up here. Thank you. You know that? Awesome. We had a good mix. I'm always a building. That's what middle school is. I love doing that. I love working with the basics, laying a good foundation for them to use in JV and varsity. And we had a good mix. Sometimes I have a really young team, but this year I had quite a few returning players, or those who had played volleyball before. And that was a blessing, because they can bring up the younger ones and help and show we're not all on the beginning level. So we were able to do a lot this year and just really have a great time, but also just get a lot of wins on the board, a lot of overhand serving that sometimes we don't always see in middle school, and that was great. We're gonna start with most improved. And like I said, I don't know, this is always the hardest, because I'm like, the most improved. I mean, everybody's improved. Even my, MVP, or even if my top 3 players, they've all improved, because just getting touches on the ball just automatically improves that, and they just learn how to move and to just adjust to the ball easier as they see it more. So everybody has. But this young lady she already came in with a lot. She had one thing going for her. She just went for it. She didn't have that nervousness that held her back, and that just let her improve very quickly, because she wasn't nervous about making a mistake. She would make it, and that kind of actually helped her and improve quicker. And this year's most improved goes to Nicole Palma. My next award is most valuable, and this was very difficult, and it always is, because you have so many girls. And my biggest word, I guess, when I think of most valuable is consistent. Back row, front row, serving, whatever you put them in, they're consistently there. They have a sweet spirit about it. But all around, I know as you get into JV and varsity, you're going to split up into more specific jobs on the team, whether an outside hitter or back row player. But middle school, you kind of have to do it all. And this young lady just does that. Wherever she's put, whether it's in the back row or front row or consistent server, she does that. And this year's most valuable player goes to Emma Hanau. My last one is Coach's Award, and they're just like, everybody, I don't know. I think Coach's Award is, well, that's just your coach's pet or something like that, but I always look at it as, it's just right up there. For me, this year is very close to the MVP. It is a consistent player, one that's there, but they bring the attitude and encouragement to the team. So, because I could say stuff from the side of the court during a game, but if the players to themselves, if they're taking up that leadership, it's probably going to get done. If they're there, it's okay, call the ball, let's go. And it's actually the girls doing that, then you're going to see a lot more success, and it's actually not at all anything the coach did. It's the athletes seeing the importance of encouraging one another, and this young lady does that very well. And so this year's Coach's Award goes to Ashley Hanau. I want to really thank, I know we always say this, but I want to thank my parents. They are so supportive and encouraging, and they bring snacks, and they just are constantly, they come to away games that are, I know it's a sacrifice sometime, or you're trying to juggle it with your schedule. You're always there to support your girls, and I really appreciate that. I know they appreciate it, but I, as a coach, it's so encouraging. It's been very encouraging. You guys always are very positive. Whether win or loss, you know that there's a process that we're trying to do, and it's more than just on the court, the win and loss. It's that building of character that I talked about at the beginning. So thank you, parents, for entrusting me with that job of coaching, but also just supporting your girls, and continue to do that as we build the volleyball program. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to say thank you to all the parents, faculty, and administration for your attendance tonight, as I know it means a lot to the ladies. If the ladies could actually, from both teams, JV and varsity, if you could come and join me up on stage now. Yeah, I'm gonna do the JV first. Oh, yes. As I was thinking about what to say for tonight, the word that continually came to mind to describe these ladies behind me, and I mean all of them, was passion. These ladies have displayed passion for the game of volleyball, passion for their teammates, passion for their school, and most importantly, passion for Christ. In a devotional I was reading in preparation for tonight, it had mentioned that, and I quote, "You're not here by accident. God has assigned you a purpose on this earth and has equipped you specifically to fulfill it. And if you'll seek him, he'll awaken your passion for that purpose in ways you never imagined." In Romans 8:28, it says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to this purpose." Now, as I read this, I thought to myself, what great examples these ladies have been in regards to what the writer was saying. Believe it or not, ladies, I have learned a lot from you in these 3 years coaching you. Your willingness to work hard, your dedication to each other, and your unwavering faith to trust in the Lord. I think it's no surprise that my life verse is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And to me, these girls have epitomized this all the years that I've been coaching here. So to my seniors leaving this year, all I have to say is thank you for these last 3 years. It's been a great ride with you. It's truly been a privilege and an honor to have been your coach these last 3 years. And to the rest of the ladies, thank you as well. But I will tell you, get ready to work this summer, all right? So with that said, let's get on to the awards. All right, so for my JV squad, my most improved player this year hadn't really played any volleyball prior to this season and came in and just had a level of hustle and commitment and dedication and just really worked as hard as she possibly could every day coming out to practice. So my rookie of the year, my most improved goes to Julianne Noguera. From there, my most valuable player. So this person just is one of those players that just does what you ask, plays as hard as they possibly can, gives you every ounce of energy, every ounce of spirit, and helped to lead my team to a really good season. So my most valuable player is Emma Furley. As you can see, I'm very nervous public speaking. Can't stop sweating. So my coach's award this year. This girl's she is an absolute go-getter. I know that anything on the floor, I can put her any spot. She is going to go after the ball. She is going to give 100% as well, even more if she has it. And she was an absolute pleasure to coach and just a great teammate, great spiritual leader, and can't thank her enough for the effort that she gave me this year, and that is Sharon Schroeder. All right, and now to my varsity team. So, to my most, sorry, let me start with my rookie of the year. My rookie of the year came in and just made an instant impact on the team, an absolute instant impact. Whether it was defense, offense, serving, she just came in and worked her tail off, which is all I can ask. She, very coachable and just a great attitude, and that is Cynthia Padron. Next, my most improved. Once again, this is the first year I had the pleasure of coaching this player, and she really, really worked hard every day in practice. I know I never really had a chance to really get her in as much as I would like to, but she certainly came through in a pinch and actually won us a couple of games with those last couple of key points. And I know all these girls know who I'm talking about. That's Juliana Carroll. Now, for these next two, Coach's Award and Most Valuable, I would like these two girls to just come up and join me, because to me, these two, this is my co-MVP. It's tough to decipher which, but these two were my dynamic duo my 3 years here, and they've been a key part to the run that we've had. 2 district championships, 1 runner-up. They're both amazing. Lauren and Christina, please come up here. These two have literally been my rock these last couple of years. With these two on the floor, along with the other girls in the supporting cast that I have, when I had these two on the floor, there was just no team I didn't feel like we could beat, ever. And they proved it time and time again, but it's been an absolute pleasure coaching you two. I am deeply gonna miss you both, as well as the rest of my seniors. It's just been a fantastic ride, and I couldn't feel more blessed being your coach. So my Coach's Award is going to Christina. Thank you. And my MVP to Lauren Amat. All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Sorry, I have a few words to say. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Abbott for getting all of our games in order and having to deal with us on the bus and singing High School Musical. Apologize for that. Sorry, not sorry. Second of all, I'd like to thank Mrs. Roque. Well, now Mrs. Roque. She was Miss Vincent back then, but she's the one who got most of the seniors and I really dedicated in volleyball in the 4th grade. So we'd like to thank her, even though she's not here. And last but not least, we'd like to thank Coach for everything he's done for us, whether it's all of practice, spending his summers with us, especially getting away from his family. We thank you. Wherever Mrs. Coach is at, we thank you for letting us have your husband. And we'd like to thank him for being so dedicated to the team. We know he has kids, and he was able to go from our practice to his kids' game, so we thank him for being such a servant and having such a servant's heart. Thank you.
And my apologies, one more thing, one more person I deeply wanted to thank. Sorry. My manager, Esther Padilla. She has been, you've been fantastic. She has absolutely been fantastic. She's been the manager for all of my teams. She's there for almost every game, but that's all right, I forgive you. But honestly, she's been there to run my clock, keep score, keep stats, and it's just, she's been a blessing to me to have that help there, and I thank you deeply. All right?
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bethany Batdorf. I teach here as well, but this year I had the privilege to coach the girls varsity soccer team, and I'm going to have them come up here as I read their names. We probably should have just had a lot of them stay up here, because if you haven't been around Westwood long, you might begin to notice that a lot of our girls here play basically every sport, so you'll see them on stage over and over again. So as I read your name, if you could come up: Brooke, Chloe, Lauren, Daniela, Sarah, Salome, Juliana, Sophia, Emily, Emma, Bridget, Amanda, Luna, Victoria, Christina, Tiffany, Julianne, Sharon, and Alejandra. And I just wanted to say a thank you to them. This is my first year coaching soccer ever, and they have been such a blessing to me this year. They were willing to listen and to learn, and had such great attitudes, and had a lot of patience with me as I figured things out. So I'm just really, really thankful for them and for the opportunity to do this. I'm gonna get into the awards now, and I'm gonna start with most improved, and this was a difficult one for me, because a lot of these girls have never played before, or have played very little, and we were really figuring a lot of things out together. But there was one that just stuck out to me based on the difference I saw between the way she played last year and this year. And at the beginning of the season, I wasn't really sure where I was going to play her, and I kept telling her different things about what I thought that I might have her do. But as soon as the season started, it just fell naturally into the exact position we needed her in, and I was so dependent on her that I don't even think I pulled her out of a single game until the last game of the season to let someone else play, because I just needed her in so much. So this year, our most improved is Tiffany Molina. The next is Rookie of the Year, which again, we did have quite a few girls who were playing for the very first time, but this is one that it was her first year playing varsity soccer, and I don't think we could have survived this year at all without her. She was she was the most important person on our team, and that's our goalie, Victoria McVeigh. The next is our MVP, and this was probably my easiest choice. From the moment I agreed to coach, my first thought was I need to just make sure I get on the same page with this one person. And since then, basically every decision I made, I ran by her, and I was just really dependent on her to do exactly what I needed her to do on the field. And she scored most of our goals this season, and the ones she didn't score, I think she assisted on most of them. So our MVP this year is Brooke Abbott. And then the final award, the Coaches Award. This player just was really helpful to me this year and has such a great attitude, and was really helpful, especially with the younger girls. We had a lot of middle school and younger high school girls, and this one just really went out of her way to help them and to help me with whatever I needed, and was always willing to work hard. And so the Coaches Award goes to Juliana Caro. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Backward.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start off by calling up our guys. I am Mr. Chiriboga. I'm the varsity boys soccer coach. So when I call you guys up, please come up. Andres Estrada, Jonathan Padron, Adrian Duray, Giovanni Baptista, Elias Canan, David Diaz, Brian Gutierrez, Alex Perez, James Schroeder, Joseph Torres, Alvaro Rodriguez, Diego Rivero, Gabriel Duray, Jonathan Pineda, Jonathan Salgado, Matthew Henao, Everett Soler, Alexander Ruiz, Daniel Tello, Alfredo Vizcarrondo, and Raul Barrero. It's a very long list. It's a good thing when your squad looks this good. Very proud of you guys. First of all, I'd like to thank the school for taking me on. It was my first year coaching. It was a bit rough in the beginning. Didn't really know too much of what was going on, but they didn't know that I didn't know what was going on. But we figured it out eventually. They did a great job. Very, very proud of them. Really, it just came out of the blue. They wanted to play soccer. They needed a coach, so they said, "Hey, can you coach us?" A lot of them actually didn't end up playing, but these guys did. So I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to be their coach and to grow with them and to learn with them. We had a very big roster, a lot of kids to handle. We actually took on a lot of sixth graders, which I wasn't expecting because we had 7 seniors and a lot of high schoolers that wanted to play, which if you know anything about Westwood soccer is very uncommon. I played Westwood soccer and we struggled to get about 8 guys on the field at a time. We finished with like about 7. It was pretty rough, but these guys stuck through, so I'm very proud of them. I definitely like to thank my assistant coach, Camila. Without her, this would have been a disaster. I'll tell you guys a secret. It's probably a ton of times where I was just like, Camila, go. Like, I don't even know what to do anymore. You just do it. And she did, which is great. So I'd like to thank the parents for their support, always coming to the games, even though we had to go far, or wherever it was that we had to go. You guys were always there. And, of course, Mr. Abbott for always having our back, even when these guys wanted to get a little rough. So I think if one word could describe the season would be growth. I feel like we grew a lot as a team. We grew closer together. We grew, basically as a family. We grew in character. We grew in skill in the sport, which is great to know. But most of all, we grew just kind of in, like I said, in character. And that took a lot. A lot of these guys had a different mentality when it came to when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and they thought that meant like, all right, let's get tough and get going, But we quickly learned that, our character was going to shine a lot brighter than that. So without further ado, let's present the awards. Let's start with the most improved. The most improved goes to a gentleman that it was kind of hard to pick him because, of course, like every single person has said, every single one of them have improved. I have a lot of guys here who have never played before, never played on a team ever, not just never played for Westwood. But this guy, the change was night and day in him, how he handled himself physically, how he handled the ball, how he started understanding his position and the rules. It was a lot of running around in the beginning, not knowing where you're supposed to go, but he got it done. And he showed consistent improvement, and that was the biggest thing. So some guys would have good games and they'd have bad games, but this guy, every single game was better than his last, and that showed me, his determination to keep going. He was strong and he was athletic, so he used it to help propel him forward. And you guys are going to be a little bit disappointed, but he's not up here right now. But we'll still give him a hand. His name is Brian Gutierrez. Next, we'll go to the Rookie of the Year. These guys are letting me down, man. This is another award that could have pretty much gone to all of them. I had about 7 or 8 guys that bought soccer cleats for the first time in their life in November. I remember watching Joseph play. I put him as a forward, and he had these really big, like, lineman cleats, and it's like watching someone doing cross-country skiing across the field. Like, he just looked crazy. He had these huge cleats, and he couldn't move. And then finally, he got his good pair of cleats, and he also got a new position, which worked really, really well for us. But yeah, I think our Rookie of the Year was a gentleman that definitely he was pretty much anything a coach could ask for. He handled the ball well. He had already played soccer before, so he knew the game well. He was determined. He played with a lot of heart. The only thing is that he was tiny. So he was a sixth grader playing on a varsity team, and that was a little bit rough on him. I've never seen a young man fall on the floor so many times, or should I better say get pushed so many times as him. But he got right back up, and these guys, they held their ground for him, and he was really good, and he actually ended up scoring our game-winning goal our last game, and he's not up here right now. But let's give him a round of applause. His name is Daniel Tello. Next, let's go ahead and present the MVP award. I don't want to break any hearts up here. I know that all of these guys up here think that they deserve this award. But when I thought about this reward, who was irreplaceable? Who would have made the biggest difference, not just on the board, but in the character of the guys on the field? Who would we have been really sad on our bus ride home had he not been there? And I think it kind of just added up, and I think we can all agree that this guy, we could count on him to be great. He surprised us. We had no idea that he could do this. I had no idea that he could do this until we put him to do it. And he did it, and he showed up, and he wasn't just a great athlete, but he was a servant, because while these guys were counting their stats, he was making sure that those guys could have stats to count by not letting all the goals get scored on us. So our MVP for this season is our goalie, Joseph Torres. Next is our Coaches Award. Now this one is really hard to define. It was my first year, so I don't even know what this means. But I thought, like, what does that mean? Is it like my extension on the field? Like, is it me, like in another human? What am I supposed to figure out for this person? So I knew they needed to be a leader. I knew they had to play harder than all of them. They had to show sportsmanship, all that stuff. But then I pretty much just asked myself, who could I trust on the field to basically lead the team, right? Who was there playing with an incredible amount of heart, who played every single game, all game. I saw this guy run across the field like, I don't know, Forrest Gump. Like, it was crazy. Muddy, full of dirt, beaten up, really angry the whole time, but he held his ground, so that was good. And he played his position well, which is great. Like, it's great to have an athlete that, you can trust with the dynamics and everything, but at least, like, let him be good at the spot as well, too, He had control, he fixed his mistakes, and most importantly, he fixed the mistakes of others. Instead of, getting riled up, he sprinted back and got the ball and made sure that we were where we were supposed to be. So I definitely could trust him. He motivated the team to improve, and he grew a lot, and I was able to see that throughout the season. Yes, he was a good player, but he was more than that. He was a good man. So definitely, I think that this year's Coaches Award we'll give to Alex Perez. And we're actually not done because I did something that I didn't know was illegal, but I went ahead and as a special senior award, just something that I noticed and I felt definitely needed to be recognized. In Proverbs 26, it says, most men will proclaim everyone his goodness, but a faithful man, who can find him? And that's huge. That's crazy. God's pretty much biggest, accolade for a human is to be found faithful. Well done, good and faithful servant. And I feel like that's not really appreciated as much. Everyone's trying to figure out the goals and who did this and who did that. But I was watching who was the first one on the field, who was the last one to leave, who was the first one at practice even before I was, who was the last one, who helped me pick up, who led these guys, who was also muddy, playing with extreme amount of heart, always there. I knew I could count on him, even when he was injured, playing with, every bit of passion that he could. And I thought that was really important. Faithfulness is pretty much a dying character trait, but I think it's so vital. And it was really a blessing to see this attribute in this man. So I thought it was important, and I thought it was important to recognize, probably when he gets to heaven, God will tell him, well done, good and faithful servant. But James, I want to tell you, well done. Thank you guys again.
Before you leave, I have something for Coach because I thought I wasn't going to be able to play soccer this year. And I've been playing it for 6 to 7 years, even through middle school and high school. So I wanted to give something, someone who didn't give up on a few guys who wanted to play soccer. So thank you. Thank you.
Well, good evening. I am not Coach Matt. I'm filling in for him. He's unable to be here at this point. And so I'm going to go ahead and call up the middle school basketball team, and we'll give them their certificates and also give them their awards. So as I call your name, if you'll come on up. Matthew DeValier, Jonah Brink, Quincy Freeman, Christopher Lopez, Carlos Lozada, Angelo Morales, William Nadaski, Juan Olano, Logan Polanco, Bryce Proctor, Jason Salgado, Christopher Tovar, Gabriel Vasquez, Joseph Vasquez, and Max Yepes. Let's give them a round of applause. Well, fortunately, I did get to see them play quite a bit this year, and I got to see them practice and enjoyed watching their games. So as I give these awards, I know a little bit something about the awards to be given today. So first of all, the Most Improved Award goes to someone who's worked hard. You can tell that when he was at practice working, but then also when he got his chance to play in those games, he made every minute count. And the Most Improved goes to Gabriel Vasquez. The Coach's Award goes to a young man who was a leader out there on the court, a great ball handler, helped control the offense, scored when they needed it, but he did a little bit of everything, played good defense, rebounded, and the Coach's Award goes to Joseph Vasquez. And the Most Valuable Player Award, and I know this is probably tough for the coach to decide who gets what award, but this young man here, you can tell when he played in the game, he just had a way when he was on the court to make things happen. Some of the baskets he would score just kind of left you impressed, like, wow, how did he do that? How did he be able to get past this guy or to get open shot and hit the shot? But this young man gets the Most Valuable Player, and that goes to William Nadaski. We want to congratulate all these young men. Did we forget someone? I'm sorry. Josiah Howe, come on up. You can come on up as well. Part of the middle school team. We'll give him a round of applause. Sorry, Josiah. I'll be up here in just a moment for the JV basketball team, but I look forward to seeing some of these young men. They've been working hard, and they're going to be at the JV basketball level very, very soon. So let's give them one more round of applause. Good job, guys. All right, this time we will do the JV basketball team. So guys, as I call your name, if you come on up. Brian Hanau, Jared Baldo, Joshua Solano, Micah Brink, David Espinosa, Adrian Perez, Samuel Kanan, James Carroll, Gregory Corrett, Luke Labrador, Stephen Hanau, Sutton Thompson, Levi Fullerton. You guys come on up, let's give them a round of applause. One verse that came to my mind this year as we coached this team was a verse from Galatians chapter 6 where it says, "And don't be weary in well-doing, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not." That verse has a lot of truth to many different applications in life as we think about working hard and not giving up. But as I thought about this team this year, we started off the season a little bit rough, lost a few close games, kind of heartbreakers as you lose those games. And so we kind of went into Christmas break with that on our mind, losing a couple close games. But these guys came back from the break. They worked hard. They practiced hard. And we were able to pull out some great wins in the second half. In fact, really the last week of the season, we ended our season with 2 game winners, 2 buzzer beaters. So we had a lot to celebrate, a lot to rejoice in. So these guys worked hard, and they're, I think, a testament to that verse of do not be weary in well-doing because you're going to reap if you don't faint, if you don't give up. 3 awards I want to give away tonight. The first award is going to go to a Most Improved, and it's going to go to a young man. I believe this was his first year playing basketball for us. He's done a couple different sports, and he played, and you can tell there was things he was figuring out as he went, but a lot of things that he was able to do were just very natural to him. And so he figured them out. He contributed on the court, worked hard, hustled, blocked shots, rebounds, scored, did a little bit of everything. And so he improved from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. That goes to David Espinosa. The next award goes to our most valuable. This was, again, tough. I had several guys this year that, depending upon the game, different guys stepped up and contributed. But once again, as you think about the most valuable player, I think about a young man that I've had an opportunity to coach for 3 years now. I'm going to miss coaching him next year, but I know he's anxious and ready to contribute at the varsity level. But this young man, he could have a bad quarter and then come back the very next quarter and make all the shots. He just was that way where he didn't let one bad quarter get him down. If he got in foul trouble, just had to clear his mind, get back out there, and very effective. In fact, he was his last shot ever as a JV basketball player was a game winner at the buzzer to win the game. That goes to James Carroll. And then our Coaches Award, again, as different coaches have said different things that represent this award, and I would agree with everything they've said about this award and how it goes to someone who's just there you can count on, who's faithful, loyal, a leader in all those different ways. And the person that came to my mind right away as I thought about the Coaches Award was someone who he never missed practice, ever. And when he was at practice, he always gave his best. He went 110%. He fought hard. He played hard. But he was a great teammate, unselfish, someone that these guys truly love and care about and enjoy playing with, and that goes to Micah Brink. This is a fun team to coach, and I look forward to seeing some of them next year at the varsity level, and a few guys I'll have back as well. Good job, guys.
Varsity boys basketball. Let's call them up here. Camilo Afanador, Jose Amat, Joaquim Ametapi, Isaac Benavides, James Caro, Chris Perez, Kevin Giz, Alex Gonzalez, Anthony Verdugo, Ralph Rodriguez, Javaris Roll. Hopefully that's it. Didn't miss anyone. Yeah. Unfortunately, two of my assistant coaches couldn't make it. One just had a baby, and other one's out of town. But we're very thankful as a coaching staff to have the opportunity to coach such talented young men. Our focus this year, as it's been every year, has always been to give these young men principles that they can use, winning principles that they can use on the court and in life. And as Coach Pena said, it's all about putting the Lord first. We work really hard. Everyone knows how hard we work, but some people don't know that we put the Lord first and try to teach that to these young men. We know how much that's going to affect their lives. And when I look out into the crowd, I see a lot of my former players, Coach Chiriboga, Coach Mejias. I have a couple of Espinosas here. Even Coach Pena is an honorary member of our team. You too, Mr. Delgado, I see you here. These young men came through these halls and experienced what these young men are going through now and have been successful. So it's something we're very proud of, the plan that we put in place, which is putting God first. I would like to start off with a couple of our awards. The MVP award this year goes to a young man that, as a coaching staff, we weren't really sure how much we could burden him with this year. You know, we knew he could handle some pressure, but we didn't know to what level. And when you're on varsity, the spotlight's on you. You have every little mistake, every little thing you do is magnified. So there's a lot of pressure. This young man, from the first game of the year against Hialeah Miami Lakes, all the way through the end of the season against Schoolhouse Prep, brought it every night, was dedicated, but most importantly, he put his teammates first. And that kind of unselfish attitude is what propels a good program. His biggest attribute this year, however, was his ability to block out the noise and focus on playing ball and doing the right thing. When you're in a high school team, it's an up and down. It's a roller coaster. One Monday, you hit a game-winning shot. Tuesday, you get beat. So you're constantly dealing with emotions and whatnot. So a lot of outside noise can really affect the player. But this young man blocked it all out and focused on basketball, and his character showed through. Our MVP for this year is Jose Amat III. A Rookie of the Year award goes to a young man who, as soon as I start talking about it, anyone who watched us play this year will know who I'm talking about. He's probably the top three-point shooter in Dade County as a freshman. And he will definitely be one of the best shooters when it's all said and done in South Florida because of his hard work, his God-given talent, and because of his dedication. He's new to this school, but his character also showed through because he was no problems in the classroom, no problems socially, and really helped us on the basketball court. So it's a real blessing to have him on the team. We hope to have him again next year and many years to come. Our Rookie of the Year goes to Alex Gonzalez. Our Most Improved award, what's good when you're a winning coach on a good program, all the guys improve. They all work hard. They're all dedicated. They all want to get better. They all put in the time. So it's a blessing. Any one of these young men I could pick up here to be the most improved. But this one individual stood out to me for his humble attitude and for his true desire to get better and true desire to want to be the best he can be and true desire to put in the effort. This year's Most Improved goes to Anthony Verdugo. And the Coaches Award, which I saved for last because most of us coaches understand that's the most important award a lot of times. It goes to a young man who didn't get to play too much this year because of an injury. But he was going to be a big part of our team, and it was a big loss when he got hurt. But he showed his character, and he continued to persevere through the injury and work hard, and the Lord blessed him with the opportunity to get back on the court before the season ended. And if you've ever seen our website or any of the highlights we do a lot of highlights for our players to get them out there, to get them exposed. But our best highlight this year, if anyone saw it, was him scoring a buzzer beater, getting his buckets right at the end, and the whole team working to get him that shot. And it's fitting because he deserved that opportunity, and he was a blessing to our team even when he wasn't on the court. This year's Coach's Award goes to Isaac Benavides.
Good evening. I am Coach Alfonso. This is Mr. Rodriguez. He was my assistant coach this year. This was my first year coaching softball. As head coach last year, I had the privilege to be able to be the assistant coach. This year I got the privilege to coach these young ladies and be able to help them learn more about softball. This year we had pretty much almost a new team. Almost half our team were brand new players, and they were able to just come in and quickly pick up the different things. As I call your name, ladies, if you can come on up. Sarah Both, Danielle Cavachoni, Sophia Espina, Emma Espinoza, Emma Fullerton, Emma Hanau, Luna Marin, Victoria McVeigh, Christina Molina, Natalie Numer, Julianne Noguera, Brianna Rodriguez, Sharon Schroeder, and Bailey Thompson. These ladies have, this season, we just ended, our last game was on Friday. These ladies have shown determination. They have greatly improved throughout the season. It was a pleasure to be able to coach these girls. We have 14 girls up here, and the last few months, they have been the world to me. They've been encouragement to me, and hopefully I've been able to be an encouragement to them. They did an amazing job from being able to pick up something that some of them have never seen a softball in their life. They've never even touched one. And just to be able to see these ladies come in and be able to pick it up was just a huge accomplishment for some of them. Most of our players, though, came in ready to learn. They were ready to be able to learn what we were gonna do this year and this season. And I had a lot of things as a new coach to learn as well, but we were able to learn together. With most of our team being new this year, I had a lot of options for our Rookie of the Year, but this lady, she became one of our amazing softball players. She worked very hard. She would stay after practice to try to get better in her position. And she always had a smile on her face. Even if she was frustrated, she would shake it off and she'd be able to laugh about something. She became a very great player. She was our Rookie of the Year. She was able to throw her spike throw from third to first base. The reason I say spike is because she's a very big volleyball player, and when she threw, it wasn't a normal throw. It looked like she was spiking the ball. So she is our Rookie of the Year, and that goes to Victoria McVeigh. The next award that I'm going to give out is our Most Improved. This player has played before. This was not her first go-around in softball. But from last year as assistant coach to this year as head coach, I have seen a huge improvement. Just in her hitting, she was able to hit to outfield. She was able to catch the pop flies that were coming to her. She has greatly improved. She was able to make a lot of great plays while she was in her position. She is going to be missed next year as she is a senior, and this goes to Brianna Rodriguez. The next award that I'm going to give out is the Most Valuable Player Award. And this award to me is a very important award. This is a lady who has shown dedication, who is willing to give up everything, who's willing to be, when she's on the field, she's there. She's focused on the game, she's focused on the practice, she's willing to learn, she's willing to give it her best. And she did an amazing job this year. She was able to be a great motivator to the ladies, getting them ready for games, encouraging them, giving them little pointers for those who had never played before. But she did an amazing job this year, and she is one of our #1 players. All the ladies on the team did a phenomenal job this year, but my most valuable player goes to Julianne Noguera. The last award is the Coach's Award, and this is for me, as a coach, this is my #1 award that I give to the player that has really shown leadership. They have been a #1 leader in the team. They have been able to push the team farther. The lady that is going to be receiving the award has been an amazing encouragement to the other ladies on the team as well as myself. She is a great motivator. She knows how to make people laugh even if they're frustrated. She can say something and it's funny, and she was able to change the mood quickly. She is one of my greatest leaders on my team this year. And this year, she has been a huge help and encouragement to me. I know if I need something or if something has to be done, I can let her know and it's gonna get done. She's my #1 player, and I really, truly am deeply going to miss her next year. That is our catcher, Christina Molina. I wanted to say thank you to all the ladies that are behind me. They had we had a very long season. They were able to push through, make it to regionals. They did their best. And I wanted to, personally from the team, our seniors are going to get a game ball, a softball that has the signatures of all the team on it, just as a memory, because I know for high school, they're going to be going to college next year, and it's just nice to have a memory of something to look back to. And so our seniors are going to be able to get our ball. So Christina and Brianna are our 2 seniors this year, and they're going to be moving on to college. Sadly, I wish I could keep them, but they're going to be moving on, and so we are going to greatly miss our seniors. One more thing. The last thing that I wanted to say tonight is thank you to the parents. The parents really are the people who are behind the scenes. They're there to take their child to practices, go to games, support us. But there are 2 parents that have really stuck out in my mind in this season. They have been a huge help to our team by providing snacks, being at every game, just being that supporting parent that you want, and having that parent out in the stands and seeing them and just having their smile there just changes everything. It makes it better. It helps the girls. And so I'm going to recognize 2 of our parents tonight because they were such a huge blessing. If I needed something, they'd be there. They'd get it for me. They'd help me out. They'd help the girls out. And the 2 parents I'm going to recognize are Christina and Melina, Christina Molina's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Molina. So if you guys can come up. And the other parents that we're going to recognize tonight are Mr. and Mrs. Patino. You guys have helped us a lot. So that is, I just want to say thank you to our parents for helping us and just being an encouragement. And thank you, ladies, for a great season that we had.
I went to college, as you know. I got the MVP. Thank you so much, Coach. I just wanted you guys to know that they're not only coaches. Not many people know, but she's also my disciple teacher. She also helps me. She takes her time out of her own schedule because I know you could really use that free period for your 4th graders. I do know that. and she takes it and she spends like 30 minutes, 40 minutes with me just going over God's word, which has been a huge help for me this year. And Mr. Rodriguez, who most of you know, was a big person in my faith. He helped me a lot. So it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, we had some struggles. It was hard to have a new coach, but we made it and we had a good season overall, and I'm so grateful for them, and I'm sad we only have one more year, but we'll make the best of it next year. And I know Christina has to say something, so thank you.
I was able to, they let me be captain this year, so I'd like to thank them for that, number one. Number two, I'd like to thank them for all their dedication on their Fridays, on their Mondays, all throughout the week. I know they could have used those Fridays for date night, but that's fine. They were with us, and they gave that up for us. Thank you so much for that. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Mortensen. I did not want to be catcher my first time. I wasn't the first time. The sophomore year I was catcher, and I did not want to do it, but he very encouraged me to do it and said I'd be good at that. So I tried it, and I ended up loving it. So I want to thank him for that and for being such a huge impact to our team, even though he's no longer a coach. But thank you for leaving us a better coach. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Matthew Mejias. I had the honor to coach the middle school baseball team this year. This is my first year actually, not being on the field myself in 17 years. So it was a pretty interesting experience. They taught me so much, they taught me patience, and how to be a kid again. There's so many times I was there sitting in the dugout and I wanted to lose it. And then these kids come in laughing and smiling and not a care in the world. Losing 20-0 and they run in here, not a problem. And just mess around in the dugout after, in the bus. And it taught me, to remember when I was in middle school and the way I acted. So yeah, we went from tryouts. Actually, I'll never forget this. Though half the team showed up without a glove. And I asked them, how are we going to play baseball without a glove? And then, me and Coach Peña just look at each other like, okay, what do we do now? So I took half of them, we warmed up with the kids who had gloves, and then Coach Peña took the rest of the kids, and they got balls out of the bucket, and they're warming up, throwing against the fence. So that's something I'll never forget. And then, so we went from that to, winning a game, which I was kind of upset about. Just kidding, But I promised them a pizza party for every game we won. And we won that one game, and we celebrated at practice the next day. So now I'm going to call the guys up. Luciano, Mark, Christopher, Eric, Rainier, Nate, Aiden, Daniel, Andrew, Nicholas, Jason, John, Sebastian. That's it. So before I start the awards, I want to say some funny comments I wrote down during the year. And they're going to laugh. But one of them was, Coach, Mark looked at the other team's lineup. That's cheating. And then during one of our games, our pitcher decided to call me in the middle of the game. Coach, could I get some tissues? My nose is stuffy. I guess Mr. Abbott has to pack tissues next year. During the middle of the game, a kid also told me, Coach, can I go to the playground really quick since I'm not playing? Sure. And then one of our players was a 3-2 count, and Mark screamed at the pitcher, "Walk me!" And then he walked him, and he screamed at the pitcher, "I told you to walk me!" And then our last one, which kind of, hit me hard, one of the kids told me, "Coach, you feel like a dad to me." And that actually meant a lot to me. So now for our awards, for our most improved award, this is a kid that, he got to the baseball field and you wonder, like, what is he doing? What is he doing here? But, he was a tall kid, and I said, maybe we could use him. And he ended up pitching for us. He started training at Tropical Park, and throughout the year, he started developing. And in the next couple of years, if he keeps working hard, he's going to be a great pitcher. And that player is Rainier Gonzalez. For our coaches award, this one was a tough award, but this is a player that played probably our most important position on the field. And no matter how many times I was there in the dugout and I lost it and, screamed at him, "Catch the ball," or whatever, he never gave me attitude. He never looked at me wrong, and that's pretty hard to find in players and kids nowadays. And that player is John Schroeder. And then for the most valuable player, this is a tough choice since, it's kind of a rough season, but we're young, so we're going to get better. But I decided to give it to a kid on the team that, always had the right attitude and was always, there and always at practice on time. The last one to leave, always got what I needed, would bring me sunflower seeds, and he was my dugout buddy. We decided, we were having a long inning at Palmer Trinity. So I asked him, "Oh, are you hungry?" And he said, "Yeah." And then so he asked me, "Oh, do you want me to go buy something in the concession stand?" And I said, "Oh, no, I don't have money. I don't have cash on me." He goes, "Okay, I got it." So he came back with a bag of popcorn, and we sat there eating it throughout the whole inning. And that player is Aiden Hernandez, which is not here today.
Well, I'd just like to call up the varsity baseball team: Isaac Benavides, Sean Bernaldo, Elias Canan, Josan Castro, Timothy Delgado, Andres Estrada, Chris Estrada, Levi Fullerton, Brian Henao, Matthew Henao, Stephen Henao, Daniel Lopez, Jonathan Padron, Adrian Perez, Jonathan Pineda, Sebastian Restrepo, Everett Soler, Sutton Thompson, and Joseph Torres. So these fine group of gentlemen have been nothing but a blessing to my life, because these children have just added more, pretty much giving God more credit of what God can do if you literally just trust Him in everything that you do. Because it just shows about, my dad always told me when I was growing up, kids are mirrors of their parents. So my dad always told me that growing up, because he was a military man, and he just told me that you had to be like that when it comes to your faith and when it comes to loving those around you, because at the end of the day, God's gonna always love you. If you feel like there's doubt or there's anything else, then in reality, then it's not coming from God, because that's what the Bible says. And I just want to honor this team because they have been living up to exemplifying who Christ was on the baseball field and off the baseball field. And it's a lot more than just talent and dedication. It's literally about how much love you have towards a group of people or per se your parents or God himself. Because if you do that, you will reflect it everywhere you go. And a couple guys that I'd like to honor would be our most improved player, which at the beginning of the year was a very young fellow, but David, when he became anointed as king, was a very young fellow as well. So God works in ways that he's going to use the young to at the same time almost show us about how strong faith is and what it could do. And this kid just grinded every day. I would see him a lot with Dad working after practice, and it reminded me of a lot of my dad. And our most improved player would be Danny Lopez. Rookie of the Year is another nice award because it shows you that if you really pay attention to what God's putting in front of you, you might not be very new into what you're doing. Because you might believe that the world is a better place, but in reality, God says otherwise. And Rookie of the Year it's a beautiful award because in little time you could make a big impact. Like Mike Trout is a professional baseball player, and people know him for being a right-minded person because he has a close relation. It's not a coincidence that he has a very close relationship with his father, because even with the money he's been given, he still finds a way of taking care and thinking about the little things, like Tim Tebow. And I like to give this award to someone that stuck it out with us throughout the whole year pretty much as an anchor, even though he was a young guy as well. And it's Christian Estrada. I like to do Coach's Award, and this award is pretty much a guy that wears the same shirt no matter what day it is. So in other words, you're going to get the same person on the field, off the field. And I know discipline is one of the ways that the Lord uses us to teach us and to give us a foundation on what it's like to be a good and faithful servant, like Mr. Chiriboga had said earlier. And I would put this player second base, third base, shortstop, pitch, left field, and he would always have the same smile on his face and with his chin up. And I would like to honor Matthew Henao. And last but not least, our MVP award, which is it's a great award because it's pretty much the resemblance of what a coach should be. It's like having another coach on the field. It's like a CEO on the field. He knows where he has to be at all times. He knows that he has influence in what he does and what he says. So you have to be aware of that, of what God has blessed you with. And I believe that this, because already at this age, at 18, you're already a man in the eyes of God. And I'm here to say that I could call this particular player a man because he comes from a good home, and he's been nothing but a rock to this team and for the past couple of years in this program, and that's Joseph Torres. Coach Rodrigo helped us out a lot. Coach Nick Mejias, Andy Gonzalez, a couple alumni from the class of 2013. I told them to come by on a Saturday and just to give back something that God gave them. And after that day, it just started to take off. And I know Coach Wall would like to say a couple things. So, bring them up.
Thank you. You're all very kind. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you. Look, I just want to say thank you to my boys right here. I'm very proud of them. They're hard workers. They're grinders, especially Chubbs. They chase their dreams. Because you know what? Sports is life. When you get on that field, everybody's against you. But you can never give up. You gotta keep chasing your dreams. Because in the end, your dreams are gonna come true. Because that's what God promised. Because when they get up to bat, Thank you. When they get up to bat, that pitcher has one goal, to take you out. And that's all life is. But you can never give up, because sometimes life is gonna throw you a fastball in the face. And when you're down in the ground and it looks like it's your end, but you can't be dead, but you're not dead, because you're gonna get back up. You're gonna get back up. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. That's how you're gonna win in life. When a fastball hits you in the face, you don't stay down in the ground. You get back up, because God made you a champion. God made you victorious. And you know what? And you also gotta love the pain, because without pain, there's no gain. And these boys right here, they know that. Every single day they gave everything they got. They sweated. They bled. They did everything. And in the end, they won. Because that's the way it is.
Oh, Rod. I don't know how I'm going to follow up that. I don't know what you're running for, but you got my vote. That was great. All right. Good evening again. I hope everybody's been enjoying the evening's event. If the guys' volleyball team could please join me on stage. Read out the names. Actually, first, I'd like to call up my my managers / assistant coaches / statisticians / God's blessing to a coach. That's Esther Padilla, Cynthia Padron, Lauren Amat, and Emily Gonzalez. Please come up. And now for the boys volleyball team: Alfred Kiala, Joseph Torres, Diego Rivero, James Schroeder, David Espinosa, Luke Labrador, Kevin Radcliffe, Matthew Hanau, Jonathan Salgado, and Micah Brink. If you guys can please come up. All right. So, now, although I could use passion as the theme for the guys as well, as they have shown similar passion for the game, I thought that anxiety was a better suited theme for them and for myself. So once again, as I was reading another devotional, I came across a lesson in which it said, and I quote, "In our busy and performance-based culture today, worry and anxiety are felt by the majority of people to some varying degree. This often leads to extreme weariness and pressure." Now, I'm not sure what kind of anxiety the guys might have had, but I certainly picture some of the possibilities, you know, like, hey, please don't serve it to me yet. Or maybe when am I going to get another spike? or another set for a spike. My anxiety came in the form of myself knowing that these young men had the potential to play the game at a higher level, as well as playing together as a cohesive unit, which is very important in volleyball. The challenge was getting them all on the same page, being that I had very differing levels of experience, focus, dedication, and once again, focus. Now, I will tell you that we certainly got off to a rough start this season. We had trouble obtaining wins, but more so just playing together as a team and a cohesive unit. But I can tell you that these young men began to play the game the right way and started to look like a cohesive team by the end of the season. Unlike last year where we had one win that came via forfeit, I'm proud to say that this year we were able to muster together 3 wins this year, all coming towards the end of the season, in which you could really see the development. Guys just, like I said, playing the game the right way, staying home in their positions, not trying to do too much, and really carrying each other. If somebody was having a bad game, they were picking each other up. We certainly had our little arguments at the beginning of the season, at least between the team, and they really started to come together and just play great volleyball at the end. And because of that, I was just extremely proud of these guys. And regardless of how we started the season, these guys never quit. It didn't matter the type of game we were having, what we were down by. These guys never quit on me. And as a coach, I was very proud of that. They kept fighting the good fight. And in the end, they persevered and were able to end the season on a very high note with a come-from-behind win. So, like I said, I was just very proud of them. Particularly to Joe, I wanted to say good luck on your next endeavor with college and baseball, as I will be rooting for you from the stands. All right? And to all of you, thank you for a great and really fun season. It was a blast, guys. You're the best. But it was just a lot of fun. It really was a blast. These guys, they gave me everything they had this season. But I did want to mention, just like I said to the ladies, be ready to work this summer, because we got some work to do and we got some improvement to do. All right, so on to the awards. For my most improved, this was a tough decision, but this player really came from let's just say he really developed. When he came in, very raw, but he had some skill, and he just worked very hard the entire season. And so most improved goes to Jonathan Salgado. To my rookie of the year, this was probably my hardest award to pick. I had 2 rookies that instantly came in and just made a huge impact to the team. Both of them becoming starters and just really giving me everything they had, especially for guys that really had never played before. And by the end of the season, you couldn't tell from where they started to where they ended. Just completely different players. So my rookie of the year goes to, Jonas Figueiredo, sorry. And just with an honorable mention to Michael Brink, who was my other rookie of the year. I wish I could give 2 of those, but you guys did a great job, both of you, all right? On to my most valuable player. This person was there every day working hard. First person into the gym working. Extremely passionate about the game and just improving and getting better and trying to get his teammates better. So this year's MVP goes to David Espinosa. And last but not least, my coach's award. This is going to a player who never got to make it to a ton of games. I'm going to kind of give it away here, but he was a baseball player, so he was playing dual sports, which is very tough, but he always made every effort to make it to my practices and to my games, whether he had a game and making it to mine after. And this year's Coaches Award goes to Joseph Torres. Thank you very much, everybody.
Good evening. I regret to inform you that Mr. Gass is not here tonight, so I'm going to be stepping in for him to announce the track and field. I will say, not this year, but last year I did have a privilege of assisting this group of young men and women in participating in their track and field endeavors last year. So I am very well acquainted with this team. This is definitely one of those things in the school that you can really see just kind of stem from the passion of one of our teachers, and that's from Mr. Wisher. Mr. Wisher, and along with Mr. Abbott and administration as well, really pushed to provide this type of athletic events for the students in track and field. And it's just an honor and a pleasure to know that there are people who are continuing to invest in what he has done. And these students and these athletes deserve the recognition. They work hard. They have a very high dedication to what they do, especially since a lot of these events are distance running as hard as you can. This takes a lot of practice and a lot of training. So all these people, all these athletes are very, I'm honored to call them up. So we're going to be doing both middle school and high school at the same time. Nathan, he did middle school and varsity. Gabriel, middle school. Raul, middle school. Gregory, high school. Hunter Casey, middle school. Adrian Duray, varsity. Josiah Howe, middle school and varsity. Christian, middle school and varsity. Gabriel, middle school and varsity. Diego, varsity. Kevin Silva, middle school. Jaden, middle school and varsity. Josh, varsity. Benjamin, varsity. Mateo, middle school. Alfredo, varsity and middle school. London, middle school. Daniela, varsity. Ashley, varsity. Daniela, middle school. Ashley, middle school and varsity. Gianna, middle school. Amanda, varsity. Daniela, middle school and varsity. And Sharon, varsity. So first off, we are going to be announcing the awards for the middle school team. In Most Improved for this year's middle school track and field team, I think that says Nathan Angulo. For most valuable, we have Daniel Howe. And for Coaches Award, Alfredo. Now to announce the awards for varsity track and field. For most improved, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is his first season participating in track and field, and this is Adrian Duray. For most valuable, we have Diego Rivero. For Rookie of the Year, Joshua Solano. And for Coaches Award, Gregory. We are also honored to announce that we had actually a middle schooler be able to participate in the regional meet, Josiah Howe. Oh, gross. Apologize for that. That's why. Thanks. All right, here we go. For middle school, this is for girls track and field. For most improved, we have Bridget Huerta. For most valuable, we have Daniela Machado. And for Coaches Award, we have Daniela Ferreira. Now for the varsity, we have most improved Ashley Boza. For most valuable, we have Amanda Lopez. For Rookie of the Year, we have Daniela Angulo. And Coaches Award goes to Sharon Schroeder.
At this time, we're going to have Mr. Thompson come up and close us in a word of prayer.
Again, we want to thank Mr. Abbott for doing a great job in leading our athletic program. Let's give him a round of applause. You know, Mrs. Schroeder started out the evening by talking about an observation that she made and saw throughout the course of the school year, whether when she was coaching or just as a fan. And it was the recognition of the strong Christian character in language and just the behavior on the court, out on the fields. And I do want to second what Mrs. Schroeder said. I thought that that was a tremendous, excellent observation on her part that I would definitely second that and agree with her there. I want to thank Coach Peñas for a tremendous challenge from God's Word. You could tell it was from his heart. In talking about respecting and honoring our parents. That's a biblical principle. And then also having that personal relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ and just building on the faith in Christ. And I appreciate that, Coach Peñas. And definitely it was evident in your influence on your baseball players this year. You know, at Westwood Christian School, obviously we're going to teach the academics and strive for excellence in our academic program here at Westwood Christian School. But also we want to inspire our athletes, our student athletes, on the fields, on the courts, in fine arts, and really inspire them to hold true to biblical values and principles and biblical values with character. And we've seen that throughout our athletes this year, and so we want to just commend them on that. Parents, want to thank you. As we conclude in just a moment, I want to pause and just thank you, parents, for your dedication and your support. You know, we talk about your support and dedication in your children's lives in the academic field as student scholars, but also your support in their athletic opportunities is just as important. You know, I was recently reading a report and saw a terrible statistic of young people in just not having the support of parents, the time invested in parents in the lives of their children. And it was a sad commentary of what's out there today. But I appreciate the parents at Westwood Christian School and the love, the honor, and the support that you give to your children. Let me just say this as a parent myself. Your children notice it, parents, and they want it, they crave it, and they appreciate it. So parents, you're to be congratulated on your support and love for your children. You know, a big part of tonight's event was our coaches. I want to thank all of our coaches for your dedication and impact and your efforts, tireless efforts throughout the seasons that you coached. And we as a school, as an administration, want to thank you for the time and effort and dedication that you put into the lives of our students. And then, of course, most importantly tonight, it was an opportunity to recognize our student athletes. And for all of our student athletes, we want to congratulate you on all of your hard work this year. Whether you received awards or not, you worked extremely hard on the court, on the fields, and we commend you for that. I'd like to do this. I'd like to have all of our students at this time, our student athletes, if you would stand, please. All of our student athletes in any sport, if you would stand. Let's give them a round of applause. Stay standing if you would. Stay standing. And then if we could do this, parents and everyone else, if you'd stand, we'll close in prayer. Shall we pray? Lord, thank you so much for a successful year at Westwood Christian School when it comes to our athletic department. We want to thank you so much for everyone involved with that, for Mr. Abbott, our athletic director, all of the coaches, all of the student athletes, the managers, the stat keepers, everyone involved in our athletic program. We want to thank you. Those that kept the grounds up and prepared the fields and drove the buses to the games, Lord, we just thank you for everyone involved. And we just pray that you would bless them for their time and effort. Lord, we thank you for all of our student athletes, and even as was mentioned tonight, we thank you for their wonderful Christian character that was shown throughout the course of the year and all the different sports. We commend our students for being that way and having that Christian testimony. Again, we want to just thank you for a wonderful evening tonight, and we just thank you that we had this opportunity to recognize our student athletes. We pray that you would bless the desserts and the snacks at this time. May it be a nourishment to our bodies. And again, we ask that you'd bless us and protect us as we go our separate ways to our homes tonight. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.